Good morning. This is Ryan Littlestone from forexflow.live. I wish you well for this week from a rainy UK at the moment. Not too good on the weather. Not too good in FX markets either. We're seeing a period of really sort of low volatility, really quiet FX markets. So I'm going to start by looking at more shorter term charts. I'm going to look at some 15-minute charts here and a 30-minute chart. I'm going to start with euro dollar. And what we got last week, beginning of last week and the week before, was a really decent run up from the 120s all the way to into the 122s. And you get a nice decent move like that, and you think, here we go, we're breaking out of some short-term ranges. Perhaps we're going to see, some extra legs on these moves, another phase perhaps. And then what we find out is that everything just runs into a brick wall, and then we find we hit another one of the more minor resistance levels, and the price just dies and stops. And that can be very frustrating for traders because, as I say, you think you're going to get a decent move, you think you can get some nice ranges to play with, and then wallop, it just all dies a death. So what we have to do, you have to come down to the time frames and look at the more shorter time frames to see if there's any opportunities here. And what we see thereafter is, for this pair, the price playing nicely with the levels. We had this range coming up where 121, 60, 70, 80 was a high. We broke that, and now we found it as support. And what we've done is we've ping-ponged between the highs up in the 122.40s and this 121.60, 80 area. So what that does, that gives us an intraday range to trade. We can try tight longs at the bottom of the range and tight shorts at the top of the range. Just seeing if we can keep the account ticking over just with a few pips here and there in that tight range. But also, as these ranges develop and as these highs and these lows continue to build and continue to look fairly solid, we can then start to plan for perhaps looking for a break trade of these levels if we get a move up above the higher zone, if we get a move back below the lower zone. So that gives us an opportunity to catch any breaks, because the way I look at trading is the more times a level is tested and holds, the greater the chance of a break thereafter. So that's when we need to start looking for going both ways on a trade, maybe reversing a long at the bottom there into a short, vice versa at the top, reversing a short into a long. So as we can see in euro dollar here, we've got the definitive range. It's that 121.60 is the lower level, 121.40, 45 at the top. If we get a break either side of those, we should be able to squeeze some pips out of it. Similar story for the pound. We move to the cable chart, again a 15-minute chart. The range is a bit wider here. We've got this 142.20, 30 area. And the downside, we got confirmation last week that 141 is where we're going to be facing the main support here. Sort of in the middle, up at this 141.65, 75 area. We've got a bit of a pivotal area here where the price finds resistance when it's below. If it gets above it, then time tends to find it as support. So we've got some sort of ranges within ranges here. Again, we look to try and play the edges. This one perhaps needs to develop a bit more around that 141 to make sure it's pretty solid. Again, if we get a move up to the 142.20 area, if that becomes solid again, then we can look to start building or factoring in a possible break either side, as well as plan the range. Last one I'm going to look at quickly, which is pretty much a follow-up from last week's video, which is Aussie dollar. Again, this range 77 to 78 with a little bit of extension either side of that. What's happened here is we've actually developed a tighter range within that, sort of 77.80 and down to 77.10. Now that could be frustration from traders who are playing that wider 77, 78 range, just tightening up a bit off the top and off the bottom, just to try and play this range, which means we've still got the potential here to break out either side. And I'm more interested at the moment on a breakout of either side of this range, as well as playing inside the range on this pair. So as always, I wish you the best of luck this week. Hopefully we get some volatility, and other than that, good luck with your trading.